I wanted to go up in a balloon for a long, long time. Be up there with the birds and the clouds, just hovering with almost no movement. But there is movement, because nothing is static. Everything is dynamic. I'd rather fly like a bird, of course, or be a great surfer and surf through the air. A wonderful feeling of freedom. Born free, hang free, glide free. It's so fundamental, the need to be free, to be ourselves, to be free to know who we are. But we're social animals, and back we go into the confinement of the chains, or whatever. What mum or dad says we ought to do, or what society says we ought to do. We've got to be conditioned, to be socialised. But deep, deep down, there is this absolute need to really feel free and be free. Those kids who wanted to surf up on the railway carriages, at the stage of their lives where they're neither little kids nor adults, full of uncertainties, but just wanting to climb up that carriage, get on the roof and feel that wind and be free. Perfectly stupid, of course, from the point of view of common sense and everything else, but so understandable. Why do adolescents rebel? Because it's part of adolescence. It's part of growing up. It's part of finding out who you are and what you are in the world. That can be sometimes very, very hostile. If you've got any spirit, you're rebellious. There are all these pressures put on you from above. All for your own good, of course, we know that. You've got to make your mark in the world, and you've got to do this and do that. And so every generation had its own form of rebellion. Once there were what we call larrikins. They were a larkin all around the place, those terrible larrikins. Too much to drink, out in the street fighting. I can remember my sister rebelled by using lipstick. Ooh, only a loose woman wore lipstick. Get that muck off your face, my girl. I was just a bit younger. My rebellion was smoking cigarettes. My sister and I would smoke up the chimney. We didn't know Mum didn't have a sense of smell. So that was my rebellion. And I used to think, how are the kids of the next generation going to rebel? Smoking will be common. After all, the generations before me had rebelled with alcohol. I saw plenty of that. So what would the next step be? And I used to think, it'll be drugs. That's the next one up in the line. I don't know much about the effects of drugs, but I do know that my generation are the biggest drug users of the lot. I can see the woman sitting there, showing me all her medications, about a dozen of them, and saying, see, I must be sick. The blokes and lassies are still going to the pubs. Some of us have stopped smoking. Now we know it kills us. But the kids, I'm sure that there's just got to be some greater understanding about the kids who are taking too many drugs. Prohibiting drugs is not going to be the answer. We're sure not going to cure it by making it a legal offence, throwing them into jail. It's just not on. It's just plain stupid. I'm not quite sure what the answer is, but I know it'll involve compassion and understanding of every human's longing to escape and feel free. Even though ultimately We have to land with our feet on the ground.